Welcome back to Krown's Crypto Cave, and a very special day today as it is Sunday, which means that very little is going on, but we actually do have a few things to be speaking about, more or less on the short-term timeframes, which can obviously bleed on into the higher-term timeframes, but realistically, similar to yesterday, this is more or less a, as I search for my words, a preparation for the week to come. Yes, indeed. And in fact, we have something very important happening this week, which we will be discussing at the beginning of this video. Anyways, with that said, I would like to wish you the best in the apps, because why the fuck not, man? It's free to do, and maybe it can even help out there. So with that in mind, let's go check out what's on the top end dashboard of the Krown chain application, which is 100% free. And you can find a link in the description below for all of the most free quant data that I'm aware of on the good old internets. Anyways, what do we see over here that was not consistent with yesterday? We actually see Bitcoin dominance rise, which is rather interesting because Bitcoin did and seems to be one of the only ones that was actually kind of holding up and putting in a little bit more on that last rally in the last 24 hours. Saw that Ethereum actually did not follow through all that much. So maybe it would be a good time to check that one out as well. Fear and Greed Index also at a 78, which is getting very close to the very greedy zone, which you would expect after Bitcoin goes more than 20,000 bucks off the $29,000 low thus far. And with that in mind, we do see actually several altcoins having a pretty damn good day from yesterday to today. Near Protocol Player, once again on the winners. What the fuck is up with this thing? Cosmos, Thorchain, Phantom, Chili's, Engine Coin, Harmony, Filecoin, Cardano, Carderpo, all in the winners list right there with some pretty good gains on the losers list. We do see XFin Network actually coughing some up, as is Voyager Token, two of the ones that were actually having a pretty damn good last week. And in fact, it was mostly just a good week for all last week. And typically speaking, pullbacks over the weekend typically are, opportunities in my experience. Anyways, with that said, marked out a tab, time to go. And we do see the global funding rates come back to pretty much parity. Don't look at this as anything too consequential, but you can see that we have steadily been trending up on this ever since posting negative rates for about 3 months consistently on the lows just below, below 40,000 bucks essentially. So with that in mind, it does still say that this rally is, at least from that perspective, not too concerning. Now, it's really not until that is like 10x its current number where I'd actually start to look at that as like a major pivot point. But for right now, all good in the hood, as is open interest continuing to add on positions alongside price action, continuing with the rally, which is a really good sign. More importantly, we do see an uptrend right here, and that is excellent to be seen alongside the leverage ratio and the Bitcoin exchange's reserve, both kind of maintaining their downtrend, which is very nice. Exchanges net flow, a little bit of a positive read right there, almost 11,000 Bitcoin flowing back into exchanges. So what are they doing with that? Leveraging shitcoins, right? Right? Who knows? Anyways, I think other than that, it is time to go into the price action charts right now. But no, there is one chart. There is one chart to rule them all. The one most important chart of all time. One chart to find them, one chart to rule them. And here it is. This is the real analysis today. The old moons, the old fucking moons, huh? Anyways, if you are new to this channel, look, I'm just having a bit of a laugh right now. But it is kind of funny to see that the moons for the last, I guess going back to like September now, so that would be literally a year, have been pretty fucking good. In fact, a little bit more than that, actually. It did work decently well, quite literally going all the way back to August 2020. Now, this last little bear moon right here, while it did produce a bit of a pullback, within the context of this trend, it has been pretty much inconsequential, just setting up for another higher low. And we are about to get a Bula moon, it looks like, I believe today or tomorrow. Anyways, I'll let the witches of the world like Marin explain this one, but well, you can just kind of backtest it and see for yourself. All right, let's get into shit that actually matters over here. And what can we see on the 12-hour for Bitcoin right here? Bitcoin put in a nice little base right around that 48.3 pivot that we spoke about yesterday. And that can now be used as a bit of a bias breaker for the short-term timeframes, as we did have this nice little spike low right here on volume on the hourly actually, and I wouldn't necessarily need to see a closure below there now. I could just look at any sort of a lower price action than that spike low, which is 48,216 on BitMexico. That is, check your exchange, it will be different. Then I would be looking for a decent pullback down to about 47.5 to 47.3-ish region right around here, and I would be looking for a bounce off that level first and foremost if that were to happen to begin with as well. However, with all of that said, while that would be the conditions for looking for a bit of a short-term reversal, maybe could even lead on into a medium-term reversal, not necessarily looking for that. This is more or less good price action. I'm a little bit skeptical seeing this happen over the weekend, but to be fair, we have seen some major breakouts over the weekend, and professional gaps are obviously created over the weekend as well. So if we were to see that start to emerge with this next continuation phase to the next targeted region, somewhere around about 51,000 bucks, give or take about 500 bucks from that target, that would be completely fine and more or less set up for continuation into this coming week, which again is the real focus of this video. But for right now, things are looking good, I suppose you could say, when Bitcoin is more or less retesting right around 50,000 bucks. And we do see that yesterday's doji-ish dildo could be used as a bit of a continuation point over here as well. In fact, I think it's a little bit easier to see on the 12-hour when you see a nice little rejection right like this. If Bitcoin does trade back above that level, which is 49,820.5, I would be looking for the next target to be stabbed on the short and medium term time frames. Again, somewhere around here is where I'll put it in. So we'll get a nice little blue box once again. It'll be right there in that nice little wiki zone. And I would be looking for a short-term pullback based upon that. But again, pretty much all timeframes are in an uptrend that matter, especially, but even on the short-term timeframes as well. So it is looking good for continuation. On top of that, momentum oscillator still posting hidden bullish evidence right here. Now, I'd say that the vast majority of this move's already played out because that was the whole move from 44,000 bucks over here when we identified that bear trap earlier. I guess it was later in this past week to where we're at. Already new highs on this rally. But if you are going to look for the deeper targets of that, then yes, the next one would be about 51,200 or so. On top of that, we do see that BBWP is starting to expand as well. Yesterday, I think we were down around about 30 percentile. Now we are almost at 50 percentile, currently at about 45 and a quarter or so. So we have trend, we have momentum, and we have volatility. Though that's basically the video for myself. But for all the TA nerds out over there, we can go through this a little bit more in the daily, which obviously, being 2x at 12 hours is going to be a little more powerful. We do see the same sort of setup here. This one still looks good to me, however, and just freshly getting back into the bullish control zone after consolidating there for a while is a very, 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 very good signal. Trying to find the last iteration where we had something relatively similar to this, and nothing as of recent times. I suppose this was actually like the last time over here. Where we actually spent a long time actually consolidating around that region. Anyways, on top of that, we do see that BBWP on the daily, more importantly, is coming in, or sorry, starting to expand from actually a single digit read that we got down to whilst Bitcoin was essentially just putting another higher low right here. So when you see contracting volatility alongside trend continuation, which in this case is an uptrend, so a higher lows to be expected, and what we'd expect to see now is we expect to see as momentum turns up, that volatility expansion will come alongside trend continuation, or at least it's more likely theoretically speaking. And the sort of biases for these are very well and easily defined, as you can see right here. I'm not really, it's hard to be bearish on Bitcoin, looking for any like major downs past about, basically our last higher low, about 45,000 bucks, especially as long as Bitcoin is pretty much riding that 200 simple right here, which is about 46,000 bucks. So, as long as Bitcoin's doing that, I do essentially err towards the side of the upside. And of course, CME did have a pretty damn good Friday closure as well, but we'll get to that perhaps tomorrow, I do think. Anyways, into the 4 hour we go. Is there anything of interest right here? We actually do see that 4 hour RSI is doing what? Not really all that much. I want to see what it looks like on momentum charts over here. By the way, daily Stokes did cross back onto the upside as well, and will be remaining to the upside as long as about 48,000 bucks on tonight's closure at 8 p.m. Eastern time. That coming in around 40, sorry, I just said 48,000 bucks, so about 1,000 bucks lower than where we're at right now. 12 hour obviously up as well, 46,700, the magical number for this one. 4 hour, what do we see right here? 49,550. So that does suggest that if Bitcoin is going to kind of continue to float sideways and up from this region, we probably do see it happen, over the next 24 to 36 hours, I'd say. 3 hour, what do we see right here? 49,700, again, a little bit higher than there. So if Bitcoin did want to pull back, those would be some nice rejective points, and 49,000 bucks for the bi-hourly, as is the hourly, actually freshly turning up, which, by the way, the hourly's actually run really, 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 really good throughout this whole run. In fact, the last 4 or 5 months, the hourly has been pretty fucking good for this. Kind of, dare I say, blindly playing this, although I'd never suggest that. Anyways, 48,750 is the magical number for that one as well, and we are currently about 400 bucks above there with 11 minutes left to go. So let's actually go down to the hourly right here, because it actually has been a really, really good time frame. And again, I'm essentially looking for Bitcoin to go sideways and up as long as we maintain above this low right here, even on a tick basis now. And you might even call this an ascending triangle. And just like a weird thing over the weekend, and this is why I'm a bit more skeptical, a lot of the time over the weekend, you'll see something painted into the charts to get all of the pattern traders excited, and then it'll just go the other way, or the other way that it's technically not supposed to. But as always, or for anyone who's actually been fucking doing this, you know that these are statistical setups, and there's just a probability that or more probability that it will go in that direction. And this would actually have a short term, actually it's going to be somewhere more around here, because that would be your high. Short term measure move basically around that lower echelon of the targeted region, about, what was it, 51,200 in some odd change right there, so looking good. Anyways, by the way, BBWP on the hourly very, 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 very low right here too. So we're probably looking for a move probably today, whether it be above the top side of our range or below the bottom side of the range. Targets are pretty damn obvious. Dare I say, I fucking hate using that word target because then it's like, when target, sir? I don't fucking know, man. When target, sir. Oh dear lord. Anyways, yeah, so looking decent right there. Of course, we also did see that the 12-hour Bollinger Band condition was not fulfilled yesterday. However, consolidating around side of the top end Bollinger Band is more or less viewed as a good thing as well. And the same sort of thing applies here too, that if Bitcoin essentially closed above the top side Bollinger Band, which pretty much right around yesterday's daily high, which I look at as somewhat of a continuation point, then I would be looking for Bitcoin to continue on with the rally into the 50, very likely somewhere around 51,000 bucks, short-term pullback right around there, and then sets it up for the week to come, which I do suspect that Bitcoin would be on its way very likely to 55, 56,000 bucks. And at that point, I would start to be really entertaining the strong probability that we probably do get a decent sized pullback from that region. I'm not calling it a fucking reversal. It's not a bull trap. I do believe that the low is in. I have a video for that I uploaded a couple weekends ago. And so you're free to view at any moment in time. It might even be linked at the end of this video right here. Anyways, anything else that we want to be aware of right here? 4 hours, fine. Oh yes, that's right. The 12-hour MACD was actually officially twisting up as well. That will be remaining to the upside as long as above 46,950. Daily is doing the same thing freshly as well too. 48,200, the magical number right there. And top end side of the daily Bollinger Band is actually just above 51,000 bucks, pretty much in line with that next target for the short-term time frame breakout. Now, I want to go back to this as well. We spoke about this very briefly yesterday, but it deserves a lot of recognition. Hey, what's this? What's this girthy green dildo on my face called? That's a bullish engulfing dildo right in front of your very face, above range highs as well. This is why I say that, assuming that we close like this, which we got another day to go. So tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern time, this will be confirmed. This is going to very likely beget more continuation somewhere around our last major breakdown. In this case, momentum oscillators are also supportive of that as well. This is a clear rejection of the bearish control zone on 5-day RSI, and 5-day BBWP is already expanding into some interesting levels here at about 69%, actually. Great number as well. Anyways, what else do we want to get on to? Do we want to talk about some moon mission bullshit as well? Get some fucking nice, what's it called? The clickbait going on here? Sure, why not? Because this is a very similar setup as yesterday. Let's see, we can bring this up right here. Again, the things that I'm about to talk about right now, please understand that while they're very interesting and they are quite compelling, and it can be a part of a well-rounded trading plan, would certainly not be the first thing that I'm looking at. I do not trade for the long term. I trade for mostly short term. But it is of interest here, and perhaps you might find it interesting as well, especially if you are a long-term person, which I do believe in Bitcoin long term. I just don't really care to hold trades for fucking forever, except on my testnet account somewhere, which shit, I guess I don't have it up right now. Should I try to bring it up over here? Hold on, we have to do this safely so that I don't give up my details, because that's been an issue in the past. And then I get a bunch of like, hey, someone tried to log into your account from an area that you definitely don't live in. Maybe in Afghanistan at this point. Bad joke to be making. Anyways, I'm still pretty much holding the same positions here, mostly just marks as far as the options go. Still holding the $33,000 long. I've been getting a few questions about this. I have no intent to let go of that position, especially as long as Bitcoin's above 44,500. If I wanted to be a little bit more clever with it, I'd say 38,000 bucks, but I will not give up that amount of profit even on a fucking testnet account in this case right here. So overall, that position is more or less easy to manage. And then more importantly, the options over here, which I wish that they actually had the prior view, because it's a lot easier for me to see. Mostly just holding a bunch of out of the money, worthless pieces of shit, but the marks are going against me. Like these $100,000 strike calls right here are like quarter of a Bitcoin against me right now, and these are realistically worthless, and they should be, they're getting marked at like 0.088, and I've sold like what 10 or 20 of them. No, actually only 5 of them for about 0.04. Same thing with these guys over here too. These $200,000 call strikes, I'm losing half a Bitcoin on about, but realistically, this should be about a quarter of a Bitcoin in my PNL right there on my side, green. And on this one over here, same shit as well. These are fucking worthless. But that's what happens when you trade on a liquid market. And by the way, there might even be a very interesting announcement coming up early September for some things that you might be interested in. Anyways, I will not allude to that any longer. Perhaps I've already said too much. Okay, what else do I want to talk about here? Oh yeah, that's right, the crazy targets. Okay, how do we want to start this one off? Do we want to start this one off like this? Sure, yes, we can. Just having a conversation with myself. Sorry about that. Bitcoin log curve zones. Essentially just kind of, well, I suppose fits these zones onto Bitcoin long term, and we do see a pretty damn pretty damn consistent relationship with all of these zones here. Basically the idea is that as Bitcoin comes into the green zone, that is your accumulation zone. After that, after typically years of accumulation, actually Bitcoin breaks out, tests around the yellow zone, and consolidates there for a while in what is a massive range. I mean, this is on fucking log scale now, isn't it? And then puts in the highs, the spike highs, 1, 2, 3 of all these macro rallies in the red zone right here. Anyways, as you can see, after spending about 3 years down in the green zone from 2018 to 2021, actually freshly, Bitcoin has now been consolidating in the yellow zone, similar to what you actually saw over here, and kind of similar to what you saw over here, and this one just blew right through. But ultimately, the idea is that if we do start to break back above that territory, then that would be sort of your general guise for looking for a move into the red zone over here, which the bottom end is right around about what is this, 93, 95,000 bucks, and the top end is about 125,000 bucks, and that is obviously rising over time too. As each and every week passes, that populates one more pixel, and generally gets higher, but at a smaller rate. So if you do want to start to talk about like macro targets, if Bitcoin were to start to really break the all-time highs, which look, it's it's getting closer, I suppose, but still very, 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 very far away. Like, understand, we're talking about moon mission shit here. Like, here's something more important. What would actually make me think that this is even relevant as far as like a general long-term target goes? I'd want to see a 5-day closure above, I think it was about 56,000 bucks would do it for me, very likely. That would actually look really, really good. I mean, I do think that the low is in, but talking about these long-term targets, you kind of have to leave that to the people who talk about long-term targets and, with the rocket emojis and shit like that. Like, no way, today, for the first time since yesterday, I have a new amazing signal that's definitely going to the fucking moon. No doubt about it. Leverage all of it on Bybit or whatever your exchange, your shitcoin exchange, that is probably doomed relatively soon. Of choice is. Anyways, yes, so we have that one right there. We obviously do have, of course, our Bitcoin stock to flow indicator over here as well, which just started to really enter into the green zone. And for the last few iterations that we've had for this, when we enter into the green zone, Bitcoin typically is getting close to resolving a long form well, actually it is a reaccumulation, but a long form consolidation after essentially making new all-time highs. See this right here. See this right around here after breaking those highs, and well, we are essentially doing that right here right now. However, we have not made new highs on this rally, but as you can see, all of these ones that break the prior high of that rally do go on for quite the tear after that on a closing base, about 500% right there. On this one over here for the new highs, what do we see? Another 300% actually. Did I do that one right? Yeah, about 400%, so a little bit less, but still kind of comparable. And for right now, we haven't really obviously seen those levels, but let's just kind of play around with numbers here. I'm curious if anything, consistent shows up. If we were to add about, I don't know, 300% to our current consolidation, that would be 125 to 128,000 bucks. That was actually in line with what we did see on the log curve zones as well. There's something else that we could also look at here too, which would be these, which I have put forwards here. Anyways, let me just double check that I actually have this right. Okay, I actually do see that the last two of these cycles actually did top out at the 2 spot 414 extensions. For what it's worth, the 2 spot 272 and the 2 spots 414 kind of in between there, right here for the 272. This one actually only got to the 2 spot in between there and the 2 spot 272. But this one, you can just kind of see that those general targets that would, the very low end would be 113,000 bucks. The middle end would be about 180,000 bucks, and the top end would be about 236,000 bucks. But again, I'm not saying that Bitcoin is going to be doing that. That is kind of absurd, but whatever. Anyways, let's go over here to the weekly. We can also do something else as well to kind of just judge, what has Bitcoin typically produced once it has essentially created or broken out of like a weekly, a weekly trend. And this has actually been very consistent over the time history of Bitcoin. I'm going to do this one in a little bit of an expedited measurement right here, just because I kind of want to combine these, these first few, the first couple of years actually. But basically, Bitcoin, I look at this as one major consolidation right here. You get your actual breakout right here. That's where you don't really start to retrace like at all. Massive move. That's 4,800%. If we were to do this on the general basis, which is technically more accurate and what I have been doing in the past, we should just scratch what I just said right there, because I don't even want to fucking talk about that. It's not relevant. We break we close on new weekly highs right there, going for a 300% run before reversing, going to a bit of a consolidation. Same thing right here, close on new highs, go on for about a 200% run right there, a little bit over 200% actually. Same thing right here, go for a bit of a reversal, then reverse and close on new highs for a 1700% move. It's like, that's more reasonable than what I just said. Well, I guess so. Anyways, this one reverses for a while. We break the prior highs right here, go for a nice tear. This one being about 750%. Very interesting. Keep these numbers in mind, by the way. And then same thing over here, reverses and close on new all-time highs right here, and then goes on for about almost 500% tear. Reverses for a couple years, breaks the prior all-time high over here. Yes. And then where does Bitcoin go after that? Once that new weekly trend emerges, or the new weekly breakout emerges, about 1600%, not bad, you might say. Same thing over here for a few years, from 2018 to 2021, and then Bitcoin breaks the prior all-time high right here. And thus far on this rally, we have seen about 200% to the upside, which has been one of the outliers for prior moves in the very, 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 very early portions of Bitcoin's life. The other ones, however, as you probably noticed, were in between about 500% and as much as like 2000%, which again, that would be probably more of an outlier on the other side as well. So we're just kind of play around with numbers here, just playing around, that's all. What would this look like as I draw this down? If we were to, just say, all right, well, what about 400% from the prior break of our prior all-time high, or 500%? That puts Bitcoin around that $125,000 target, actually, technically speaking, about 110. What if we were to see it like kind of in the middle there, about 1,000%? That would actually put Bitcoin at under $200,000. So is it relevant to be looking at that as like a very long-term thing? Possibly, yes. Again, this is more or less for clickbait bullshit on YouTube, but it is interesting nonetheless. And as you can see right here, it should be known, if I want to balance the statement out a little bit, we actually do have a potential downtrend reversal in the making if Bitcoin like literally rejects right here. But I do believe that if and when Bitcoin starts to close dailies, especially anything above a daily, especially a weekly, above $50,000, this is a bear trap. We're not going to see below there, barring any sort of like black swan event. By the same token, as long as Bitcoin is below that region, we are technically speaking right now still on lower highs for a weekly trend. Keep in mind though, the way that this week is looking right now, this is like not how a reversal dildo looks. So if we were to top out right here, how would this thing look? It would like literally reject before end of day, come back down around $47,000, maybe trade sideways for like a month or two, and then start to roll on over. Is that possible? Yes. Is it probable? I do think it's a lot lower probability for all the reasons as explained earlier. And again, for the long-term analysis playlist that I uploaded with the said something like, or sorry, the title is something like the low is in. Several reasons, or not just several, like 40 minutes long of reasons why I do not believe so, from a technical perspective as well as a fundamental perspective. But hey, anything is possible, obviously, and black swans have a non-zero probability. But as long as the daily trend is to the upside, from a major moving average perspective, this is very, very good. All major moving averages with lower periods trading above higher periods, you see them all chasing price action. They all have positive slopes. They're all starting to switch into, or they're already in a bullish posturing with pretty much a fresh golden crossover here on essentially a confirmation of a higher low on the daily. I really see no real reason to be bearish on Bitcoin for a medium or higher term time frame right now, especially as long as Bitcoin's above $45,000. Doesn't mean that Bitcoin can't come back down around there. It certainly can. And at some point, I would be looking for a decent sized pullback from this. In fact, depending upon how we close today, I could be looking for that decent sized pullback from here, or after first getting to like the mid 50s. But for right now, I'm sure someone's going to call this bearish divergence. It's not fucking bearish divergence, for the love of God. Let's see. How does, CME closed. CME closed basically on a continuation right here. Hidden bullish divergence into Friday closure. Daily RSI back in the bullish control zone, maintaining there more importantly. And trend continuation. I mean, this is pretty damn good. So I think I'll just leave that right there. Again, know your risk if you are trading this right now. I typically do not like to trade over the weekends, but again, the ranges are rather, are very well defined right here, and I think that's where maybe I'll leave this one at. Perhaps we go take a quick gander at Bitcoin dominance. We can do that. Make sure I'm recording. Okay, yeah, maintains a downtrend right. Oh, this is a 4 hour. Hold on, that's not what we want to be looking at. Looks like we're putting in a bit of a local low right here, so I would be looking for this to rally up, and that would very likely mesh well with Bitcoin carrying on with the rally here. However, this is a downturn right now, and I probably would be looking for lower highs in like the deeper 40s for what it's worth. But short term, does Bitcoin start to gain versus altcoins? Likely yes. Just see what like Ethereum Bitcoin looks like. Yeah, still kind of maintaining it long term, but yeah, rolling over in the short term. So short term, a little bit of downside there, sideways and down. Long term, still more or less good in my opinion, at least. It's not even my opinion. It's just what the charts are saying, sir. Anyways, is there anything else I want to check out? Maybe Ethereum really quickly, just because it hasn't really played with Bitcoin this weekend, which is actually concerning. But looking at this right here, very similar setup, just not as strong right now. However, if we do start, this one has a little bit more of a more obvious structure going on right here, which is, kind of makes it more nice for trading. Jesus Christ, got too many of these. Muddied up my charts again. Yeah, we'll do something like this. A little bit less obvious than CME for Bitcoin, but what do we have going on right here? Top side of the range, about 33.20 or so. Bottom side of the range, I'd even say I'd flip on to looking for a decent retracement back down below about 3,100 or so. For right now, though, things are looking more or less good here. Very, 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 very nice setup. Hidden bullish evidence on 4 hour RSI. BBWP's on the floor. Trend right now is to the upside. So momentum, trend, volatility. That really should be the whole video right there. But hey, if you do want to look at the very short-term timeframes for this, as long as you're closing hourly dildos, especially above about 3,200, I just look for sideways and up. Hourly momentum also is looking pretty damn good here too. Below 3,200 though, I would look for a nice retracement down to about 3,130. And then perhaps you hold your breath a little bit there, but ultimately, typically we see Bitcoin and Ethereum play together, and you got the same setup here on daily RSI, hidden bullish divergence back in the bullish control zone, and we are in the constant uptrend. Volatility is an expansive posturing. This one actually coming in from even a lower value than Bitcoin. This one spot 98 percentile. So fair enough. Should be a very interesting week ahead. I think I will cut off this video right around here. I've probably been speaking for too long. Hope this one serves you well. Ignore the stupid and ill-formed jokes throughout this. I haven't had my coffee today, and I won't be having coffee today because I'm trying to wean off. But with that said, take care. I'm gonna go and get some food now. Take care and see you soon.